Sold
what?
7 Epic a day. Sold 7 CDLs, 5 family plans, and a small biz pro.
Go now.
Good stuff.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's
So
up.
got senior director qualified, and I'm carrying over about $250 premium dollars for next month. So I'm BC Pro ready for next month, of course.
Yeah, my numbers got up this month. So I've been working my way back up to my numbers.
Working your way back up to them numbers, huh?
Well, you know, just doing what I do. You know, it ain't that Legal Shield way. You know how I'm saying. You know, I'm not legal.
Yeah. I used a little tough love today.
Huh?
I used a little tough love today on one of my groups.
Oh,
CSA
okay.
scores are going way up, and I said, so whatever the drivers have is not working.
Yeah.
Let's give them something that'll work. And so they've been steering them all in my direction. I sit in their conference room, and as they come in, they say, go talk to John.
Go talk to John. That's what's up, yeah. Yeah.
That's that. All right, so we can go ahead and get them let in. I'm sending an email out, just a reminder email.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody can let them in, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, get this double click, get this down, get that up. Let's see. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello, everyone. Well, my computer over here. I don't know what's going on. Dang. All right, guys, we're gonna get started here in about 30 seconds. Waiting for a couple more people to get on. Hello over there on YouTube for the people that's over there. If you have any questions during the this training, just put them over there like you normally do, and then I'll just ask them on the Zoom side. I will ask them on the Zoom side. So we're going to be talking a little bit about cross-selling, upselling, and downselling today, so that everybody understands what those different things are, so that you can get a little bit more conversion rate when you're talking to these companies, and have a little bit of room to wiggle if they say, I'm not interested in whatever it is that you're talking about, or the price is too high, or you might want to upsell, especially in a business like Legal Shield, where premium dollars actually add to your ability to qualify things, all of that stuff. So upselling is good in that position to be able to do that as well. And a lot of people don't know the difference between upselling and cross-selling. Some people don't know the difference between those two. So we're going to discuss those as well today. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our introductions, and then we will go into our training. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to Miss Sharanda Ivy first, and then we'll go from there.
Alrighty. So this is Sharanda Ivy out of Byron, Georgia. Been with Legal Shield now about 9.5 years. Started back in 2013. So when I got started, I was unemployed. So definitely been focused on Legal Shield for these 9.5 years, and just finding my way here in the company, learning more about the industry. I am a 50K ring earner. I am Emerald Elite, and I'm a certification CDLP trainer. and specializing in, this division of our company. Got focused about 5 years ago, choosing my major and my minor after taking the level one that, Marty created and teaches now today. Helped me to decide exactly, what I wanted to focus on in this space, because we can get so wrapped up of, chasing incentives and things like that. And what I learned, was that, even if I focused on solutions, I could recruit over here. I could do everything that I did on the network, that the networking side does, but I was definitely focused more on the small business plans and the direct sales division of our company. And over time, I began to recruit a little bit more in the solution space, not a lot. I do have some, business professionals, insurance agents, and those types of direct sales people on my team. But I have focused mostly on the direct sales, but knowing that I have the ability to recruit, even if I stay over here on this side, focusing on the business solution space. So named #1 field trainer for 2 years for 2021 and 2019 for the company. Last year recognized as the #2 group opener as well, and did all that here in this space. I continue to say that because I felt like my business definitely changed when I chose my major and my minor. Focusing on a lot of small businesses, plans, protecting those business owners here, again, in the CDLP space as well, and hosting the accountability call that I've been hosting now probably about 3 years now. I think it's about 3 years, going on 4 years. Started right when COVID hit, so going on about 3 years. And that call is on Thursday nights at 9:30. It's so late because I wanted to make sure I was out of the way of team calls and anything corporate may have been hosting. So those individuals, more like a mastermind, they get on there. And it's not all about me coaching. It's just, me just really facilitating. And we really just, mastermind on what's working for individuals, what's not, and some of the challenges they're facing. So we do, we invite individuals on there, but I am really big about accountability. So, it's about showing up. So, and those individuals do that. So we welcome you if that's what you're looking for. But we definitely want you to definitely plug into the coaching call and any other trainings that corporate has, because that call is more for those individuals who are really actively doing IPA activity, if I must say. So with that, Dunbar, I'll pass it back over to you.
John?
Over to John, sorry.
That's all right, Sharon, took all my time. John,
You need to focus,
John
right?
Hoffman.
You need to focus.
Yeah, I need to focus on driving. But John Hoffman out of California, certified trainer, been in the business 15 years. First half was part-time while I was running my truck tire business. So that's how I got introduced to the CDLP, because those were my customers and I saw the need for it. Based on when they couldn't pay their tire bill to me, they always had problems with their tickets or other legal issues. So when I came across Legal Shield, it was like a natural fit for what my own business was. Then train also to customer associates, long distance and local. Oh my goodness, it's Halloween today. That's right. I got to be careful of the trick-or-treaters. Actually, I like to go out and call trucking companies. I like to see them face to face, or as Alan Roman goes, belly to belly. And I find the best success that I have that way. I haven't learned the skill that Sharanda has by doing it by phone, but that's a good acquired skill to get, and I'm looking forward to acquiring that skill. But going forward face to face, I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and talking and meeting people across from a table or just right in a restaurant or a truck stop if I can identify him as a truck driver. On the way home now, had I'll brag a little bit. I had a good day today. Sold 7 CDLP plans, 5 family plans, and a small biz pro. So that was one of the days that we all hope and wish for. So that was worthwhile going out and seeing these people. And it was something if I can replicate that at least once a week. That's what do you call it? Executive director material. But we'll see if that can generate into that. All right, Robert, over to you. I'm going to sign off and go in my office, and I'll get back on.
All right, good stuff. And congratulations on those sales today, brother. That's always good. That's always good. So Robert Dunbar, been here for 13 years, trained for 7 years, did networking, business solutions, and now CDL. Been a trainer on the different sides of Legal Shield as well. I just love the CDLP space. Used to love the team building until I just got kind of burnt out on it. So great thing about this company is it gives you other things to do. So when I got burnt out on it, I was able to shift over to business solutions and still stay in the game. So I am a 100K ring earner and I've got 2 50K ring earners on my team. So today we are going to be talking about upselling, downselling, and cross-selling. So if everybody knows what that is, put that in the chat. If you know what upselling, downselling, and cross-selling is, throw in the chat. Just put yes. Just yes. You don't have to type a whole bunch. Just want to make sure y'all up, moving around. Whoa, it's 8:49 at night. On the East Coast, it's 8:49. I know some of y'all out West Coast. Still early for y'all. This stuff. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because I'm talking about it somewhere else anyway. So I thought if I can make it relative because it sells over here, and it falls in place on the CDL side, not really the CDL side, the Legal Shield side altogether. It falls because one of the things that we don't have control over in Legal Shield is the pricing. So you can maneuver a little bit with the upsell, downsell, and cross sell. And it really does help on the upsell side because you have qualifying things. And if you can sell more because you have another product that person can use, then it gives you the ability to be able to do that. But there's a few mechanics to upselling, downselling, and cross-selling. And also we got people that think that they don't know the difference between upselling and cross-selling, right? So we want to make sure that you know the difference between the two of those. So we are going to talk about that a little bit. We might do a little bit of role playing for some of these. So I'll see how that's going to play out. But I want to start with upselling first before I go to cross-selling. Upselling, downselling, then cross-selling. So on the upsell, just so everybody who does not already know, who don't understand sales, that's not familiar with it, upselling can change depending on what it is that you do for a living. But since we're talking about Legal Shield here, let's talk about how you upsell in Legal Shield. So an upsell example would be me offering the CDL membership to a company, to an individual, and then upselling them by offering them the family plan too. And a lot of times people think that an upsell has to be something that costs more. And it's not necessarily that it costs more, it's just adding an additional product or upping the sale, right? So if I say get the family plan too, that could be in some spaces that could be considered a cross sell, some an upsell, right? So in Legal Shield, we can look at that like an upsell or a cross sell because it's a relative product. Another upsell would be offering the trial defense on the family plan. So it's like, hey, here's the family plan. This is what the cost is. Now you upsell them on the trial defense. Because that's an additional product that we offer that works with that, right? The gun owner supplement would be an upsell because you're offering them an additional product, right? We can consider the identity theft a cross sell or upsell. So all of these different products that we offer, some of them can be considered upsells or cross sells, and some of them just upsells. But the idea here is to learn to offer more when you're closing. One of the best ways to increase your sales is to offer something to somebody that has already bought from you. And if you already got somebody on the fence, they're already ready to give you their credit card information. We're going to talk about some different tactics you can use for that. But you've already got the sale. You've already got them going. You've got to know how to read their temperature a little bit and upsell them to a certain extent without messing up the sale altogether, if that makes sense to everybody. So let's talk about that. Talk about that a little bit. Let's start with the CDL. Let's let the CDL be the base plan. And what I'll do is I don't want to use Sharana because she a trainer. So it's not gonna be as fair. We find somebody in the audience. Come on, Bob Frazier. That's somebody I know that makes calls and makes sales.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, brother?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good,
I
good,
am
good.
doing excellent. So I know that you make calls. I know you make sales. I know you open CDL groups. So let's just do a little bit. Or let me get you in here with me too. Let me see. Add to pin and Bob add to pin. All right. So man, you should be next to each other now. So what I want to do is just give a couple of quick examples, and these are going to be simple examples, guys, because I don't want it to be complicated for people. I know some of y'all are still kind of, the phone is heavy on making just a general sale. So I don't want to extend it to a point to where it gets too complicated. Some of you guys are looking for a general pitch right now where you're trying to just get in the door and make one sale. But some of us are making that one sale, but we're losing the opportunity to make that upsell. So right now, Bob, what plans are you selling? Like what plans are you generally going after right now when you're making your sales?
I'm doing the on the road, off the road plan, and also small business.
Gotcha.
Whether it's the plus or the pro.
Gotcha.
What driver fits.
Are you going after the pro first, or are you going after the CDL first?
I'm going after the CDL first.
Okay, you're going after
then,
the CDL first.
Yeah. Then I listen to their concerns, and I'll reiterate what they said to me, and then I'll start if what they're saying, then I'll offer the pro. And I never ever offer the essential because that's not going to help the normal truck driver.
Gotcha. Okay, so and remember now when we come talking about the small business plan, depending on who you ask, that can be considered a cross sell or it can be considered an upsell, right? Either way, right? Whatever language you want to use, but you're still able to move up. So let's go ahead and start with that. Because you do it the other way. You do the CDL, you do the basic CDL first, and then the small business, correct?
Yes, when I sell the CDL, I'm also selling the legal plan. I'm not going to sell one without the other.
Good stuff. And
that's why I said on the road, off the road, because.
So you're opening with that. Are you opening with CDL?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So my presentation is the on the road, off the road plan.
Okay, so how about you sell it to me then? Because you're already doing an upsell to a certain extent. So let me play the other side of it on this example. Can we do that? Like, right. let me be the prospect.
Okay.
Now, when you're doing this sale, are you doing this sale to like the owner operator with a few vehicles that's got 5, 10 trucks or something like that? Is that normally that prospect?
That is correct.
Okay, so owner operator, we hear Sharana talk about this all the time, right? Owner operator with less than 10 vehicles. I know she goes up a little bit higher than that nowadays, but most of the time for the newer people, less than 10 vehicles, owner operator, right? This is the prospect. And Bob Frazier is going to sell me in conjunction the way he sells it, because he's already upselling, right? He's doing that right now. So I'm gonna let him do what he normally does, because that's gonna be the example, because that's what he's doing anyway. So you call me, I answer the phone, we're having our conversation. So go ahead and start talking to me, and then I'm just gonna act like I'm a prospect.
Okay, once I done ask you a few questions and everything, and then I'll get into your safety report came across my desk, and this is what I noticed that your guys been experiencing, and it appears that most of your violation has been with unsafe driving. Are you aware of your safety score?
Yeah, I am. I take a look at it every now and then. I don't look at it every day, and it's really hard to come by good drivers. So this unsafe driving thing is like, I get the best drivers I can, but it's just kind of tough out here. So I try to work with them when they have something happen. But there's not a lot I can do about that.
Okay. So how do you handle your violations?
Well, normally I don't deal with them. I make sure that driver's doing the stuff. That driver lets me know they got a violation. I'm making sure that they're dealing with it, going to court. I follow up with them to make sure that they're taking care of it. If they don't, then I'll let them go because they're not handling it. It affects my company, but that's pretty much as I can do.
Okay, so your drivers are going to court? Is that what I heard you saying?
Yeah, if a driver gets a violation that requires him to go to court, or he can go to court to try to take a chance at beating it, I do suggest that they go, and I do follow up with them to see if they're handling that violation.
Okay, good. Well, if they are going to court, what I'm noticing that you haven't been following the whole process, so that tells me you're not been getting a transportation attorney. So if you're not getting a transportation attorney and just getting a regular attorney, they're not going to know what the other process that goes to it, because there's more to go to it than just going to court and getting dismissed and say, hey, I got it dismissed. So are you familiar with data queue?
Yeah, I am. I have somebody that does it at my in my office, but I don't know what kind of attorney they're getting. I don't require them to get an attorney. I just tell them to make sure that they're handling that, because it affects their license and it affects our company. So I don't like walk them through any kind of process. They just come back with some kind of result after they've gone to court. I don't even know whether an attorney's going to court with them. I don't follow it.
Okay, I'm gonna inform you on something that you may or may not know. But if your drivers are just going to court and getting that ticket and think it's all done, trust me, it's just like if you're not data queuing and getting the order dismissal from the attorney so he can give it to the driver, so he can in turn give it to you or your administrator so they can put it through data queue, it's actually like you haven't done anything, because there's a process that you must follow whenever you go to court to get your tickets adjudicated. Because in 2013, FMCSA came out with a policy that calls adjudication policy. And what that does, that allow you to fight your citations. So if you're not following that process and just paying the ticket and getting an attorney to go to court for you and not doing the rest of it, it's like you haven't done anything. So what I'm offering you here with what my company is offering you is the on the road, off the road plan. As you're aware of, sir, if whatever your driver gets on the road, and then when he's off the road in his personal vehicle, those points counts against your company.
Well, hold on though. Let me ask you a question, because I already got like these points and stuff. So like, if I buy this from you, are they going to take care of the stuff that's already on my record? Y'all can clean that up.
No, but not the ticket that you got. You received that one of your drivers received on the 28th. Now of this month. Now we can take care of that, but all that old stuff, there's nothing too much you can do about it. But the ticket that he got on the 28th, it's going to be at a discounted rate, because it's a pre-existing issue, and we have a 11-day grace period. So, we'll give you a 25% discount. But however, we will go to the court for you and fight that ticket to get it dismissed or reduced.
Okay, so but what is this costing? Because like I really don't know whether or not I'm in a position to be paying for attorneys to go to court for my driver. No one's gonna help my safety score, but I want them to take care of it, because it's their license, and I don't want to add that to my budget. Like that's finances that we really don't want to put out to take care of.
Well, I'm glad you asked, sir. It doesn't cost your company anything. The sole responsibility remains on the driver, because as you're aware of, sir, the only way that your company can get points is through your driver. So I have certain companies that pay for it for the drivers. I have other companies that pays half, and then I have other companies that doesn't pay anything. They make sure that the driver is taking care of that. Because let's face it, the only thing the driver really cares about is getting his loads and making him money. So it's your responsibility to ensure that this driver doesn't add more points onto you. Then if he does, and you're not doing the data queue, and you have all these points, you're walking around like a target on your back. You're setting yourself up for an audit.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's what we want to prevent.
Now, Bob, before we now are you going to attempt to sell me the plan?
Well,
at some point.
That's my intention. But when someone asks me what I got to sell them, I say, well, before I sell you anything, I have to educate you first.
Right. Oh, no. I'm not saying no. Do what you're doing. Now, like follow your regular process, because it's smooth, and this is what you're normally doing, and people need to hear that. I'm just asking you that so I don't switch the scenario on. That's what I'm asking.
Right. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm covering. And I went over on the road. Now off the road, see, we here at Legal Shield like to have your drivers stay focused. So let's face it, we all have problems going on at home when we're away from home, and we got all these people calling us. So what we're going to do while you're on the road and you're getting these calls from these different companies and something you can't do about when you're on the road, that's where our off the road plan comes in at. We're gonna write letters and make phone calls on your behalf. We're gonna help you out so your driver can maintain his focus on the road, because let's face it, FMCSA, what it is, it's all about safety. And if you're worrying about something that's going on at home, you're not paying too much attention to what's around you.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. This plan that you're telling me for these guys, like they're gonna pay for it, not me. And is there a way that I can monitor that, and how do they get the plan? Like, how are they gonna be able to get this plan?
Well, what we first do, we're gonna do an authorization form. I'll take care of all of that, get you started first, and then I want you to send me a list of your drivers, okay? With the information that I'm going to send you, the information that I need, and you send me that, and I'll input them. Once they get approved, we can do it payroll deduction, or we can do it self-pay. Put the responsibility on that, and it'll be automatic. If it's self-pay, it's going to be automatic. They give me a credit card or a banking account number. But once you give me the census report, I have a list of your drivers with their pertinent information on, and we can go from there. And keep in mind, there's 11-day grace period for on the road, but off the road, you can use it the next day within 24 to 48 hours.
Okay. Now this off the road plan, like I don't know about pushing that their way, because like I'm concerned about what they're doing is affecting my company. Like whatever they got going on in their personal life, like that, they can take care of that offline. Like, so I don't really understand the other plan. I know that CDL plan is going to be helpful to my company. Like, you offering that family plan. What if they choose to get that plan to protect their household, but they don't get the plan to protect the CDL? Now I'm kind of still in a jam. What's going to happen?
Well, let's face it, sir. Both of them work hand in hand. You shouldn't have one without the other, okay? And say, for instance, if you have a driver, he has a child support issue, or his license is about to get ready to be suspended, that off-the-road plan is going to help you. And if long as that driver is eligible to drive, guess what? He's not only making him money, he's making your company money. And over time, as we keep your scores down and your drivers get the information over to our law firm, or call me so we can do a three-way, either or, then over time your points going to go down. You're going to see not an increase in your score. And so over time your insurance is going to increase, and guess what? The amount that you're getting for your loads is going to increase. Because right now, what I'm currently seeing, you're not getting the max amount of money for your loads.
Okay, so
what I'm looking at is what the insurance company is looking at and your customers is looking at.
So let me ask you this, because some of my guys I have gotten a ticket before, and they weren't in my vehicle. Like they were doing something else, and they got a ticket. And my insurance agent has said that it's affected me. Like, why is that affecting me? I don't understand how that part works. Like, why are these guys driving somewhere else and driving something else, and my insurance company's information is being affected by that? Like, I'm not covering them when they're not working for me.
Well, that's because that see, the points remain with the driver for 3 years, whether they're with your company or not. And that's the beauty about my plan. My plan is portable. Once it's your driver, that driver leaves your company and go with someone else, and we're working on his ticket. When we get those points off him, guess what? Even though he's not with your company, they're going to come off of you. So what that looks like, it makes you look like you're doing a great job.
And as far as my actual company, so like, what happens when I'm having an issue with these drivers with my company? Like, I mean, because I'm not driving myself.
Yeah,
like,
I understand.
I got these vehicles, these drivers, I'm not driving. So I've had a driver like literally take some things out of one of my vehicles when we had an issue and left my vehicle in a whole nother state. Like, so is this something that I can do about that, like with this plan?
Well, that's something, see, that driver was driving under your authority. And anything that's happened with that truck under your authority, it falls on you. So now we have this plan where, you know, get away from the drivers. Now let's talk about your company, where we're going to protect your company. Okay, I hear you saying, well, what if this scenario and that scenario? I have this legal plan where this business plan, what it does is solely for your business. It protects your business. Doesn't protect anything else, but nothing but your business.
Okay, and that's something that I got to pay for. So wait a minute now, how much is that going to cost? So,
Well,
what is that going to do?
Well, once I ask you a few more questions, I'm going to see what you qualified first.
Okay.
We have two plans. We have one that's $175, and we have one that's $114. But I got to see what you qualified first.
I think I qualified for the one for 114.
Well, you may or may not. I mean, that might not be that's what you're looking at it at a business at a dollar standstill, but you may need something a little bit more than that, because that's why I got to ask you questions, because we have these plans cover certain things. Each plan doesn't cover everything. You get more with one plan than you does the other.
Okay, I got you. I got you. So what I need to tell you, I only got a little bit of employees and I got a small business. So did that qualify me for the little plan?
well, it doesn't quite work that way. It's what keeps you awake at night?
Me, worried about my vehicles because somebody else is driving them. That keeps me woke at night, wondering whether I'm gonna have an experience like I had before, where I had a driver who we had a miscommunication. He didn't like what I said to him, and he took some things out the vehicle that didn't belong to him and left my vehicle in another state. I had to send another driver to go take care of that. And of course, my score. Like, you know what I mean? If I know that eventually, if my score is not better, either the insurance is gonna get too high for me to afford it, or I'm gonna get shut down. And this is what I do for a living, so I don't want it to happen. So that's pretty much what keeps me up at night.
Okay, that's good. I hear what you're saying, that you're worried about the drivers and this and that. Do you ever get worried about being sued?
Not really as much, because we got good insurance that'll cover the lawsuit. I mean, we know what it happens, but I mean, honestly, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but it don't really keep me up at night.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. You say you have insurance. Okay, let's face it. Most people do think that their insurance is going to pay for their lawyer, their attorneys. Yes, that's true. But you may have $750,000 of insurance or $1 million of insurance. Guess what? That attorney fee is going to come out of that $750,000 or that $1 million of insurance. So with my plan, if your driver is involved in, if your company and your driver, see, if your driver is involved into involuntary manslaughter or you're stumbling it. So homicide, then you know, his attorney fees are covered. His attorney fees are covered 100%. So we all know that that person is not going to go after the driver. They're going to come after your company. So by you having your company save that, you're going to have 100 hours of trial defense time right there off the bat. So you don't have to dig out of your pocket to come up with the attorney fees, because you have that trial defense time. Make sense?
Okay. That makes sense. It does.
Okay.
So, but does that qualify me for the little plan though?
Okay. Do you have any collections or any receivables that you, or do you have a factoring company?
No, I pretty much, I don't have anything out. Like normally when I do my loads and whatever, I get paid. I don't have anybody that owes me any money. I've been kind of blessed on that side, so I'm not dealing with that.
Are you using a factoring company?
I am.
Okay, so let me ask you this question here. I know how long you've been in business, but I'm going to ask you, how long have you been in business?
13 years.
13 years. So out of 13 years, can you run your business for a minimum of 3 months without using a factoring company?
No.
You can't. Okay. Because you know how this factoring works, right? You pay anywhere from 1.5% to 5% to that factoring company. They paying you off top. It's like a loan. Say for instance, if they don't collect that money that they just paid you, you're responsible for that factoring company to get paid. So with my company, we're going to do up to 20 collections for you a month. It doesn't matter which state it's in, where you're going to get all the money. When you rather get all the money than minus 1.5 or 5% of that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do for you.
Okay, all right. So if I decide that I want to do this, right? Now I'm not, I don't drive, so
Right?
I don't need none of this stuff.
Well, actually, you do.
I just need to pay $114 for the plan for my company, right?
Well, we can start you off at that, but eventually you're gonna have to get the bigger plan, because I don't want to sell you something that you don't need.
Okay.
I'm calling you because I'm here to help you.
Okay.
Okay. And I think, in my opinion, and from what I see, I think that 175 plan will do you better than the 114 plan. Now you can get whatever you want, but I'm giving you from a professional view. I've been in this industry for over 20 years. I drove for over 10 years. I've been a dispatcher. I've been a safety coordinator. I've been a resource manager. So I know this industry in and out. And what I'm seeing and what you're telling me, this is the plan that's right for you.
Okay. All right. So all I need right now, you telling me that at any time I can move up, I can get a higher plan?
You can be like the Jeffersons and move on up.
Okay. So right now, all I need to get is the $114 plan for my company.
Yes, sir. And we're gonna do 10 collections for you.
Okay, got you. And what about the guys who work for me? Like what are they responsible? What do they need to have in their budget?
They need. I'm in a position to offer you at a discounted rate at $51.90 per month. So you're talking about $11.98 a week and less than a bottle of water a day.
Good stuff. Okay. All right. Now let's shut it down real quick. All right. So guys, that was we didn't go through that before any other time before right now. So, and I wanted it to, and I'm glad you tripped up, Bob, because it shows the reality of it. This is what happens in calls. Like, there's no perfect call. There's no perfect prospect. There's no perfect salesman or saleswoman. This is how it goes, right? It just flows and you pick it up. If you drop the ball, you pick it back up and you keep going, right? If I ask a question, you can answer, like you asked me. Oh, can you do factoring without three? I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I can't even answer that question. Really, I don't know the answer to that question. I just told you I can't I don't know, because I don't deal with factoring, right? When I make my sales, it has nothing to do with factoring. So I do not know anything about that. But I answered the question, just answering the question because I'm doing this with you, right? So let's look at the upside, the upsells and the down sales and whatever the case may be. Let's take this scenario. So we've got to understand that he said 5190, which is I'm believing it's him doing the family plan or the off the road and on the road. He calls off the road and on the road together. Is that right, Bob?
That is correct.
Right. So he's doing those two plans together. So let's look at that scenario. If you guys are ever offering the two plans together, and somebody says they hesitate or they feel like they can't get both plans or whatever the case may be, if you are in a CDL account, then I would say the downsell would be you dropping the family plan, not dropping the CDL plan, because you're in this, right? If you're in a regular account, then I would say dropping the CDL plan, right? Just so you know what plan to drop. Also, downselling for me, and I think me and Anthony talked about this a few days ago. Remember, in a company like Legal Shield, a great downsell tactic is going to be offering something for a year out and then offering installment plans when they realize that that's too much. So Bob was talking to me about that small business plan, right? $114. He could have done 114 times 12, right? And told me that was the price. Well, this is what it's going to cost. So what is that cost? Let me do the math on that real quick. 114 times 12, 1368. So I'm talking to Bob, or Bob's talking to me, or whoever, and it's like, oh, well, that's the small business plan to make sure we cover. Well, I asked the questions, I got the information. It's just 1368, right? It's a little bit under $1,400. I'm waiting now. What kind of response am I getting from this client? If that client hesitates, or they're like, okay, 1,400 says, so now what is it going to do for me? Oh, this is going to do this and that. I'm still not going to come down on that price. I'm not going to drop, I'm not going to downsell yet. If that person is hesitant, if they say they can't do it right now, if that person says, well, I don't know about the 1468 plan right now, whatever the case may be, Then I'm going for the downsell, and then the downsell, I'm not dropping it down to the $49 plan. I'm just now giving them an option to do installment payments, which means I don't take any less money. I don't make any less money. I just make it easier on that client. Does that make sense to everybody? Put a yes in the chat. So that 1368 now is like, the person says, well, I may have to come back on that. And I say, so if you don't mind me asking, like, why do you need to come back on that? Is the $1,400 out of your budget? Because it's okay to ask that question. Is the $1,400 out of your budget? Yeah, right now it is. Well, look, what I can do for you is, is 114 a month more digestible? Oh no, I can do $114 a month. Okay, so let me set you up for $114 a month. So I'll just do a different set of paperwork for you, which would be $114 a month as opposed to $1,368 one time. Does that work better in your budget? Okay, great. You're not gonna lose any of the protection. So I just downsold that client without selling them any less of a product, without making any less money, without getting any less premium dollars. And they got the same protection. It's just easier on their budget, right? The other downsell would be to go down to a smaller plan. In the CDL space, y'all know we don't suggest that here because we need them to at least have the $49 plan, on the $99 plan, so that we can add the trial defense to that. Is that fair? Just put a yes in the chat if that makes sense. So we're talking, right, well, we're talking upsell, we're talking downsell. Now, before I say anything else here, because it's 9:19, because sales is sales, right? So Sharanda, I know John logged off for a second, or he's driving, so he can't really do a whole bunch. You do a lot of cross-selling. And I'm sure you're doing the upselling and downselling in your process as well. But I know you're known for doing the cross-selling on the small business versus CDL, doing that cross back and forth. Like, what's your take on cross-selling and some tips and tactics, some things that you're doing to set that up on that cross-sell?
Well, good job, Bob. And Bob is a product of really plugging in and applying. So kudos to Bob for that. Definitely, that was a stellar presentation, and his numbers definitely show that. So, well, with me, initially, I'll say, over the years, I have definitely started with the small business plan because I've always been attracted to that. And then just learning in the space, because what I learned early on by trial and error, that a lot of owners don't understand that even though they have the violations, and yeah, the drivers are the ones that are bringing back the violations, it's not always their fault. And so they don't always really think highly of their drivers. So, I use Lamar script, but I use it in a way that I don't read it word for word. I use it and chop it up to fit how I prospect. And so therefore, when I'm talking to them, I'm leading with the small business plan. My questions are tailored to the small business product. Like Bob said, I'm asking, what keeps you up at night? And by the research, I've looked at the violations. So I kind of know what the company is dealing with before I even, make that dial. And, for those that don't know, prior to COVID, I walked into companies as well. I didn't like the phones, but since COVID, I became, better with the phones, and I'm comfortable with the phones. I don't like to make calls, don't get it twisted. But, I prefer to stay at the house. And, it's all about the numbers game, as, Dunbar always talk. It's sales, it's a numbers game. And they teach us that no matter how we do it. But me personally, I realized quick, and I'm one to try to cater to what I know that works for me. And that's the point, as I learned that every owner didn't like their drivers. And if you read Lamar's script as it goes, it talks about the driver. And so that owner would come back, kind of negative of if I was to say the whole script, right? So I learned quickly that I didn't need to lead with that because I needed to, kind of feel the owner out and how he truly felt about his drivers, and also educate him on how all that worked. Because if you talk to enough owners, you'll realize that a lot of them just aren't educated on the process of how violations work and how they affect their company. So you find yourself educating and teaching them before you even decide to make a sale. So that's why I always started with the small business plan, because my thing is, if I felt like if I could sell the owner, he would allow me to talk to his drivers, because he would see the value in what I was offering and how it would help his company, you know, in general, not really the drivers, but the company, right? Because everybody want to know what's going to help their company. And so with that, and like Bob talked about too, initially I was really focused on, especially on that self-pay account, selling, you know, both plans as a combo, because even when I talked about it, I made it as if it was one. It wasn't an and situation. I made the product as one product because I felt like they needed it, because of what it did for their drivers, but it would be in the process of asking those questions. You know, like Bob said, for those that don't know, that a driver can lose their license if they don't pay child support in most states. I don't know about all states, but most states. And so therefore, that's a big issue. And one of my questions would be, have you ever lost a driver because his license got suspended due to child support? And so they have a lot of, I won't say a lot of issues, but there are some issues on the personal side that really, because what we learn in group school is what I learned is that we want them focused, right? We don't want a guy beside us driving a 80,000-pound truck and he worried about something at the house and he wrecks, right? We want him focused on the road, right? What we learn in group school, we want him to show up to work. We want him to be productive when he's there, reduce the absenteeism. And so therefore, that's still what our legal plan did. And so those are the types of questions that I geared to, so I could make the point, Dunbar, of the whole package deal, from the small business plan to the CDL and the legal. And I'm a stickler about being in a CDL group. And one talks about legal and one talks about CDL, and then you got a driver say, well, I want the legal, I don't want that CDL. Dude, you're getting the CDL because your employer allowed us to talk to you. That's why we're here, and that was a given. So the combo definitely was always that. But now, over time, I've learned that, especially when the company is paying, they'll see, because it's about protecting their company. So I will do just the CDL, but I'll always have the opportunity to do the legal, even if the driver has to pay for it themselves. And, that's another training, how we do that on, in group. That's the group thing. So, but that's where the cross-selling on that. And initially I was the 114 girl, that was at minimum. But after learning more, as Melissa trains that, and then seeing that, I began to go up and sell the pro, because if you really have them to maximize the plans, with the contract drafting and things like that, policies and procedures, handbooks and things like that, they can get that in the pro, at flat rates versus, maybe the 25% discount. So over time, and that came with a little bit more posture and knowledge of the plan to upsell to that pro, because I didn't always do that. Initially, it was just a fear of thinking that was a lot, right? But I knew that at minimum, they needed the 114, but learning how to position to show the value of that pro plan with the trial defense came over time, definitely.
No, and that gives you another opportunity too, Sharanda, with the 169, right? With the you know, if you add, you know, the trial defense to it, it gives you two options to downsell. Because one downsell is breaking it into installments if you're doing the 175 times 12, and that's what you give them the total price. One form of downsell is breaking it down to the installment payments. Another downsell is going down to the 114.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start at the top and you top sell, now you've got two options to downsell. I can downsell by breaking into 12 payments, or I can downsell by going to a smaller plan. So you give me.
I learned to do that over time, because even, even knowing that the most value was in that 169, that pro plan, you still had some pushback sometimes. So, and like you said, like Bob gave you the options, right? And most people definitely gonna choose that smaller option, because you gave them the option, you know what I'm saying? So, but definitely, always when the posture came to start with the pro, definitely able to come down to the 114. That was definitely an option.
So I want everybody, if you're in a position to write, I know everybody's not writing right now, but if you're in a position to write, I want you to write this is a good tip to keep in mind as just a piece of ammunition you can use when you're selling to business people, because I'm assuming everybody on this Zoom is in the B2B space. One of the easiest little triggers that's easy to throw out there for business solutions people are that they can use it as a tax write-off. That is a very magical phrase that helps out, right? So who I see up there? I see Mahmoud up there, right? So let's say Mahmoud is my prospect, and that's my I'm talking to him, and I'm talking to him about this $175 plan, right? It's 175, right? Sharanda?
169 plus 169 plus 1495. Come up like what? 183 or something?
Yeah, 183.95. So it's basically 184 bucks times 12. That's $2,207. So if I'm talking to Mahmoud and I say, look, this it does all these, I ask the questions, I'm giving the benefits, and they say, okay, so what it say? It's about $2,200 basically to have it, and that's gonna cover you annually. And I see that a little bit of pushback, right? One way I can try to get that through before I even attempt to downsell, especially at this time of year, is to say, you know what, Mahmoud, the best thing about this time of year is most of my clients, when I tell them that price, the first thing they thinking is, oh, that's another write-off. Right? That's the $2,200 write-off that I got before the end of the year. So that's a good way to ease that blow, because a lot of business owners are looking for write-offs anyway. And they know that a legal product is a substantial right. They know that there's never going to be questioned. That's never going to be questionable if you buy a legal product for your business, that's a write-off. So remember, you can throw that in there to lighten up that conversation for yourself, because now they get the benefit of that, right? Just let them know, hey, it's a tax write-off. Not only that, if they still got a little bit of pushback, now we can come down from that $2,210, right, $2,210, and say, well, I can get it down to about $184 a month. Is $184 a month more digestible? Yeah, I can do $184 a month, right? So I'll just get you set up on a contract for $184 a month, and then it'll just draft what's going to be the best day for it to come out of your account, right? And then you go ahead and do your setup. So again, you still downsold, but you still have not made any less money on that, right? So you got to know certain triggers to move things over, right? Another trigger that I use to cross sell, right? Because when I do a group presentation for truck drivers or anybody in the business solution space, if I do a presentation, I don't ever talk about identity theft. I'm not telling you not to. I don't, because it's too much of a presentation. I'm not going to cover CDL, the family plan, identity theft. It's too much coverage for me. So I normally just cover the CDL membership and the family plan. And I use that interactive type flyer, and I cover both, right? On the roll, off the roll, like Bob would call it. If I'm sitting down with Jaree after I finish going over that presentation, and she seems like she's hesitant with it, right? This is a a bank draft group, and she says, "Oh, I get so worried about putting my information on paper. Like, is anybody else gonna see this? No, I'm gonna enter this into a computer on a database, then I'm gonna shred this application. When you're concerned about identity theft, yeah, this happened to me before. I'm gonna let her tell me her story, and I'm gonna say, just so you know, we got a product that we can attach to this. That's this much a month. It's discounted because it'll be group rate, and you can now have identity theft protection. Now I'm doing my identity theft protection cross sell because you were hesitant about giving me your bank draft or credit card information. Does that make sense to everybody? You got to look for ways to go ahead and add that cross sell in when you're making those sales, because again, you happen to be in a business where premium dollars are adding up to get you to a certain area, a certain level, and qualify you for trips and whatever else is going to qualify you for. And your customer that you have on the books is always the easiest customer to close. So something that I would suggest to everybody is that when you're making calls, right? Because you guys are all making, well, not all of you, but I know most of you guys are making calls. Take one day a week or one day every 2 weeks or whatever moderation you want. Call customers that are already on the books and cross-sell them. Call them, ask them how everything is going, and sell them another product. That's an additional sale. They're already comfortable with you. They've already given you their bank information before. So you can add a sale to that person who's already has the membership. And I know some of you are like, oh, I don't want to call that client because I don't want them to drop when I call. That's not a good attitude to have. Call them, check on them, and then offer them something else. Right? Offer them something else. Whether it's a gun owner supplement, whether it's the identity theft plan because you never marketed that to them, or find out whether that truck driver that drives for somebody else owns a business outside of that. They may own their own business. Their significant other may own a business. We have no idea until we talk to people. So sometimes calling on your client base and offering them another product, because Legal Shield offers so many products, that's a way for you to cross sell as well. So let's not forget the upsell, the down sales, and the cross sales to grow our business as well, because those are selling tactics that have taken people from one level of sales all the way to another level of sales annually, right? I sell way more annually because I apply these different tools to the selling process. Upselling, downselling, and cross-selling. So those are just some things that you can look to add to your arsenal. Hopefully it'll help you guys out. I wish we could have heard more from John, but John had, he was obviously traveling back, and John also had to take another call from a client that called him. Sharanda gave you some tips. Bob did a fantastic presentation on the spot. Didn't let him know I was going to call on him. So really great answering those questions, Bob. So we really appreciate you coming to the forefront and really doing a really good presentation for people to see. And I'm sure some people feel more comfortable now hearing you do that presentation than they did before, knowing what could get thrown at them. So that's where that's at. So Sharanda, anything else you want to add? Good.
Nope.
All right, good stuff. So hopefully this helps your sales, guys. We've got our CDLP coming up here. What's the date on the CDLP coming for November, Sharanda?
The 18th for Friday.
18th, and this is the last one for the year. So anybody that's planning on getting CDLP certified, refreshed, I shouldn't say certified, but getting a refresher, it's going to be on November 18th. You said that's a Friday training, correct? So Friday night. So if you got any 7-day Adventists, any people who do not do anything on Saturdays, right? People who have not been taking it because they're saying my Super Saturday keep getting in the way. Well, ain't no Super Fridays. So they can get their CDLP refresher on November the 18th on that Friday. And this is the last one for the year. So you'll see more posted on the page. Of course, I have some emails going out to you guys as well on the Friday CDL. Don't forget Sharanda's CDL is on Thursdays. So consider jumping on that accountability call. Consider using Sharanda as a field trainer if you are serious about doing it, but you're saying, hey, I don't really know how to take the next few steps. Use Sharanda Ivy as a field trainer to do that, and then plug into her call. So you get the bonus working with her as a field trainer, because not only is she your field trainer, but she has a call that she does on Thursdays that you can plug into with other people that are working the business that are showing up on the leaderboard. So that means that what she's doing with them is working. So that makes a lot of sense. So with that being said, guys, appreciate you guys for joining us. We appreciate you guys on YouTube as well for hanging out with us for the last hour and 10 minutes or so. And we look forward to being with you guys again next Monday on our CDLP to help you guys move forward in marketing the CDL. So, guys have a fantastic evening.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you.
Halloween.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
training.
Good night, all.
Good night.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night, everybody.